What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video I'm going to break down my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 45, Lewis versus Daukaus. But first things first, let's quickly recap my picks and predictions from UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. So overall I ended up going 2-3. But we'll start out with the good news here. I picked O'Malley and Kai Kara-France to win correctly. Honestly, O'Malley looked really good. He looked smooth. His striking was on point that night. I know some people just don't like this guy for whatever reason, but he's a fun, entertaining guy. He's a great fighter. He's really technical. I just don't know how people don't like this guy. I'm a pretty big fan of this guy. And I think it's time for him to move on up. He needs to start fighting ranked guys in the bantamweight division. And I think he's only 26 years old right now, but he needs to start moving on up. And with Kai Kara-France, he looked really good too. Everybody knew that Cody had a suspect chin, and it was on full display last night. He got a perfect punch landed right on his chin, and he fell down like a sack of potatoes. And after that happened, I knew it was only going to be a matter of time. And Kara-France did take his time. He was very patient, and he waited for his opportunities, and he got it, and he just ended up getting the knockout. So that was a very good win by him. Okay, so now on to the losing picks. Yippee! So I'll be real with this one. I personally thought that Ponzi won. I thought he did enough in round one. I thought he landed the cleaner shots. And round two, he definitely won that round. But again, one of the judges said he didn't and gave Neal a 30-27. So that was maybe the only fight that I could recall offhand that I was just like, are you serious? But it was close either way. I'm not calling robbery by any means, but I personally had Ponzi winning 29-28. Okay, and the big one of the night, Nunes shitting the bed. I'm at a loss for words, to be honest. I know in my last couple videos I said there was no way she was going to lose. There was no path to victory for her to lose. Well, I will tell you one thing. Well, actually, I'll tell you two things. The first way that she could have lost is she just gave up. And honestly, that's probably what she did. I really thought she just gave up after she got taken down. And when Pena got on her back and started to try to get the choke on her, she didn't have any hooks in. She wasn't even under her chin all the way. And not to mention, if you look back closely too, Nunes' hand was in the way of the choke. So she tapped faster than Blachowicz did when he got submitted by Teixeira. And I thought that was a quick tap too. So I don't know about that. She might have just gave up, and I don't know why she would. Or, which I don't like to say this, but I've said it a couple times already, maybe the fight was rigged. Who knows? It's just, to me, it just doesn't pass the smell test. And 99 out of 100 times, Nunes is going to win that fight. But for whatever reason, she just gave up in the second round and tapped immediately when she didn't even, it wasn't even under her chin. But I digress. I can go on for hours about that fight, but I'll move on to the next one. All right, and then with Poirier, it was a good fight. He tried his best in the first round to get Charlie Olives out of there, and he almost did. He knocked him down a couple times, I believe, maybe even 3 times. But once that second round hit, and it looked like Oliveira was grabbing his gloves just to keep him down, and he did that little roll, and he stayed on his back for that whole round, which was fine. It was probably smart on his end. But once that third round came out and Charlie Olives got on his back, standing rear naked choke, you know it was only going to be a matter of time. That was the way that he was going to win. It was going to be by submission. He wasn't going to knock out Poirier, and he wasn't going to win by decision because Poirier was going to outstrike him. So it was a good win by him. He came back. He showed some adversity. It's just sad that Poirier lost. I really wanted him to win. He has a good story as well. He had some adversity, and now he has it again. So hopefully he can come back from this. Maybe in a fight or two, he can maybe try the rematch if Oliveira has the belt or not. But we'll see. It was a good fight either way. Okay, so now we got all that out of the way, so let's get into my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 45, Lewis versus Daukaus. Alright, so the first fight I'm going to break down is Darren Elkins versus Cub Swanson. Elkins is 29-9, 37 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. And Cub Swanson is 27-12, 38 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach. Okay, so we got this fight opening up the main card, and honestly, it's going to be a good one. I'm pretty excited to see this fight. I've went back and forth a couple times with this because I can see clear path to victories for both these guys. But ultimately, I did decide to go with the underdog in Darren Elkins to win this one. I'm not going to get too much into the striking or grappling stats because if you watch UFC, you know Swanson's going to be the better striker in this matchup. And then Elkins is definitely going to be the better wrestler and grappler. But how I see this fight playing out is I think Elkins is just going to outwork Swanson. I think he's going to take him down whenever he can, early and often. And he's just going to out-cardio him and out-gas him until finally Swanson breaks. Swanson's takedown defense is only 60%. So like I said, I think Elkins can get him down early and often. It's not even going to be an issue with his cardio because Elkins' cardio is amazing. I mean, he's basically the same as Clay Guida. He just goes and goes and goes until he finally breaks his opponent, and then he either wraps up a submission or ground and pound. But like I said, I do think he's going to outwork him. Swanson's going to start gassing out late in the second, and I think Elkins either going to get a submission late in the second round or in his third round. So with my pick, I'm going to say Elkins wins by submission. Alright, so moving on up the card here, we have Diego Ferreira versus Mateus Gamrot. Ferreira is 17-4, 36 years old, 5'9", with a 74-inch reach. And Gamrot is 19-1, 31 years old, 5'10", with a 70.5-inch reach. So here's another fight that I'm actually kind of excited to see here. But I'm going to say that Gamrot is going to win this one. Ferreira averages 4.70 strikes per minute with a 37% accuracy versus Gamrot's 4.10 strikes per minute and a 48% accuracy. And striking defense, Ferreira absorbs 3.38 strikes with a 56% defense versus Gamrot's 2.09 strikes absorbed and a 64% defense. So both guys are pretty similar with their striking offense, but defense, I will give the edge to Gamrot. He just takes a little bit less damage, and I also will give him the edge in striking. I do think he's the little bit more technical striker, but where I see the fight mainly playing out is on the mat, and I will definitely give Gamrot the edge on that. Gamrot averages 5.35 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 34% takedown accuracy, and Ferreira's takedown defense is only 66%. So again, if Gamrot wants to keep it on his feet, I do think he has a slight edge, but if he does want to take this to the mat, which I do think he's going to have the clear advantage, and he's going to have the better wrestling top control, and he may end up getting a submission if he is in control for a long time, but I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out, but I do think Gamrot's going to win this easily, and I'm going to say that he's going to win by decision. Okay, so next fight we have here is Rafael Assuncao versus Ricky Simón. Assuncao is 27-8, 39 years old, 5'5", with a 66.5-inch reach. And Simón is 18-3, 29 years old, 5'6", with a 70-inch reach. So I think this is another interesting fight, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Simón's going to win this one. Assuncao averages 3.26 strikes per minute with a 40% accuracy versus Simón's 3.08 strikes per minute and a 42% accuracy. In defense-wise, Assuncao absorbed 2.33 strikes per minute and a 68% defense versus Simón's 3.13 strikes absorbed and a 64% defense. So both fighters aren't the greatest in technical strikers in the division, but their stats are pretty similar, and they have really good striking defense, but they just don't throw a tremendous amount of volume with good accuracy. But where I do think the big advantage for Simone is grappling and wrestling. Simone almost averages 7 takedowns per 15 minutes and a 54% takedown accuracy. But the good thing for Assuncao is his takedown defense is 80%, so it's pretty decent. But the way I see this fight playing out is I think eventually Simone's gonna get him down on the mat, and it's pretty much just gonna be a rinse and repeat. I think that's where Simone's bread and butter's at. I think he has the clear advantage, and he knows he has the clear advantage on the mat. I don't know if he's gonna wanna stand and strike with him. I may give Assuncao the slight edge in striking, but I think the way to win for Simone is get the fight to the mat and stay on top. And I don't think there's going to be a submission or ground and pound. I do think it's going to go to the judges' scorecards. So with my pick, I'm going to say that Simone wins by decision. All right, so the next fight we have is going to be a bloodbath. When I heard this fight announced, I immediately just was like, oh boy. But we have Amanda Lemos versus Angela Hill. Lemos is 10-1-1, 34 years old, 5'4" with a 65-inch reach. And Hill is 13-10, 36 years old, 5'3" with a 64.5-inch reach. So if you couldn't tell already, I am going to pick Lemos to win this one. And I don't want to say that Hill doesn't have a chance, because the last time I said that, look what happened. Nunes lost, and I look like a dum-dum. So I'm not going to say that Hill doesn't have a chance in this one, but I really feel like Lemos is going to win. Lemos averages 6.23 strikes per minute with a 63% accuracy versus Hill's 5.71 strikes per minute and a 50% accuracy. And striking defense, Lemos absorbs 5.38 strikes per minute with a 46% defense versus Hill's 5.25 strikes absorbed with a 63% defense. So if you look at those stats, they're actually pretty similar and really close, but if you know these fighters, you know who has the striking advantage, and that's going to be Lemos. I think she's a little bit more technical than Hill, and I also believe she definitely has the more power. So it's only going to take one shot, and I think Hill is going to need to keep her distance this whole fight. I know she likes to put pressure on her opponents and get inside, but if she does that, that's just a recipe for disaster, and I really think Lemos is going to knock her out if that happens. But the way I do see this fight playing out is I do think Hill is going to try to push forward. She's going to try to get inside of Lemos, and Lemos is just going to catch her, and I think that's just going to be, once she does that, she's just going to go to the ground, she's going to cover up, and then the fight's going to be stopped right after that, because like I said, Lemos has one-punch power. She's really strong for that division and powerful, and she's been knocking out everybody lately. So with my pick, I'm going to go ahead and say Lemos wins by knockout. All right, so we got co-main event time here. We have Stephen Thompson versus Belal Muhammad. Thompson is 16-5-1, 38 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. And Muhammad is 19-3, 33 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to pick Wonderboy here. He's a fan favorite. He has a tricky fighting style with his karate, and he likes to do a lot of kicks. But call me crazy, I'm going to go ahead and say that Muhammad's going to win this one. Thompson averages 4.06 strikes per minute with a 43% accuracy versus Muhammad's 4.61 strikes per minute and a 42% accuracy. And defense-wise, Thompson absorbs 2.75 strikes per minute with a 43% defense versus Muhammad's 3.80 strikes absorbed and a 60% defense. So looking at those stats, they're pretty similar. Wonderboy does absorb less than Muhammad, but Muhammad's striking defense is a little bit better. So I think that pretty much balances each other out on that. And probably the reason why Wonderboy absorbs less strikes is because his fighting style is really hard to get close to him, but that's the way to beat Wonderboy. And I really think Belal can do that. He does like to push forward. He likes to set the pace of the fight, and he always wants to get right in the face of his opponent. and that's the way you're going to beat Wonderboy. And if this fight does go to the mat, I will give Belal the advantage. Muhammad averages 1.80 takedowns per 15 minutes, but he only has a 28% takedown accuracy with that. But Wonderboy's takedown defense isn't the greatest in the world, and it's only at 73%. So I do think if Belal can push him to the fence and clinch up with him, maybe try to get the takedown and work a takedown, I do think he'll eventually get the takedown. And if he can get Wonderboy on the mat, I don't see Wonderboy getting up, and I think Belal can stay on top control, and that's just another way to win this fight. So I do think it's going to be a close fight. I just see a little bit easier path to victory for Belal, but I know it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy by any means. But with my pick, I am going to say that Belal wins by decision. Oh, and another fun fact. Back in 2014, Belal beat the great Chris One Punch Curtis in a fight. So do what you want with that, but you know how I am with Chris Curtis and that one punch power. And if Belal can beat him, then he definitely can beat Wonderboy. Alright guys, so main event time here. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for me. Alright, so we got the big boys coming up here. We have Derek Lewis versus Chris Daukaus. Lewis is 25-8, 36 years old, 6'3" with a 79-inch reach, and Daukaus is 12-3, 32 years old, 6'3" with a 76-inch reach. So honestly, this is going to be a really good fight for however long it lasts, and I don't think it's going to last too long. But with my pick, I'm going to say that Daukaus wins this one. Lewis averages 2.49 strikes per minute with a 50% accuracy versus Daukaus's 9.03 strikes per minute and a 53% accuracy. And striking defense, Lewis absorbs 2.48 strikes per minute with a 41% defense versus Daukaus's 3.40 strikes absorbed with a 64% defense. So if you're looking at those stats, you can clearly see that Daukaus has more volume. He does have the better striking defense. I do think he also has the speed advantage, but you have to respect Lewis's one punch power. And I do think his defense is good enough to avoid a lot of those big shots. So the way I see this fight playing out, it's going to be kind of like the Gane-Lewis fight. I'm not saying Daukaus is as good as Gane by any means, but he's quick like Gane. And eventually I do think Daukaus is going to catch him with a shot, and Lewis is going to cover up and slowly start just going down to the ground, and I think the ref's going to call it. Maybe in the second or third round, but with my pick, I'm going to go ahead and say Daukaus wins by knockout. Alright guys, so there you have it. Those are my picks and predictions for UFC Vegas 45. On your way out, go ahead and please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're on Twitter, feel free to follow me at JohnnyKPicks. And as always, be on the lookout for my bets video that I'll post later this week. And I'll have all my UFC Vegas 45 bets that I'll make. I hope everybody enjoys the last card of the year. I know I will. And happy fight night.